Welcome to today's yoga practice, a 25-minute yoga flow for balance and stability. I am Danielle Henry, and I am so excited to have you here with me. Before we start, I'd like to take a moment to thank you for subscribing to my channel and for your support. It means a lot to me. I invite you to find a seated cross-legged position, and let's get started. In this practice, we will be moving through poses that help to create stability and balance throughout the body and mind, preparing you to move safely into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. As you root down through the sitting bones, reach through the crown of the head. I invite you to bring your hands together at the center of your chest, fingertips to touch, Anjali Mudra. Setting an intention for your practice today, may you move through your practice feeling the strength and grace in your body and the stillness in your mind. Reach the arms up, exhaling, slide the thumbs to the heart space. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, thumbs to the center of the chest. Come up onto your hands and knees, finding a table position. Wrist under the shoulders, tucking the toes under. Inhale and exhale from cow to cat pose. Inhaling, lift your chest. Exhale, softening and rounding, cat pose. Inhaling, arching. Exhale, tucking the pelvis, cat pose. Breathing in and out, finding your Ujjayi breath. Lower the sitting bones down into child's pose. Press down and forwards through the arms, feeling the new energy come into the body and releasing anything old and stagnant. Inhaling and exhaling. Rise up onto your knees and reach the arms out and overhead. Slide the thumbs to the heart space. Shifting into gate pose, left leg reaches out to the side with the toes pointed forwards. Rest your left hand above or below the knee and stretch the right arm, perhaps bringing the right hand to right shoulder and eventually stretching it overhead towards the left side of your mat. Sometimes I bring the hand behind my head, leaning my head back, opening up the front and the back of the body, finding balance. Releasing out of the pose, lower onto the knees, and inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, sliding the right foot out to the right. Rest the right hand above or below the knee, choosing where the left arm should go for you today. Hand on shoulder, behind the head, or reaching up and over across towards the right side. Feel where you have a little imbalance and breathe some space. Releasing out of the pose, lower onto your knees and pause. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale, slide the hands to the heart space. Returning into table pose, begin to lift up off the knees, shifting into downward facing dog. Let your eyes gaze towards your feet. Let the knees slightly bend, once again feeling where you have some tightness in the body. Create some space by swaying the hips over to the right and then over to the left. Just let the heels sway from one side to the other, breathing new space into the body. As you pause in down dog, feel your belly rise up and in on the exhalation. Now move forwards into plank pose. Set the knees down if needed, but pause here and breathe. Hands pressed down and together, feet pressed down and towards each other. Draw the belly up and in, and press back to downward facing dog. We begin to create strength through the whole front and back side of the body, as well as opening those tight muscles. Now roll forwards once again for our second plank pose. Soften in front and behind the heart space. Feel the shoulder blades retracting towards each other and the hips as high as the sternum. Press back once again, downward facing dog. Listen to your breath. Notice if it's sped up. Slow it down. Find the balance that you need for today. Step your right foot forwards and tuck your back toes under. Let the hands be down on the ground or place them in the low or medium position on your blocks. Begin to open your left thigh. Create space and step forwards. Then step your right foot back for low lunge on the left side. Make adjustments. Perhaps on this side you use your hands on the blocks. Find some space as your belly draws up and in. Moving deeper into the pose if needed. Step your right foot forwards, coming into Ardha Chandrasana, half extension. Inhaling, we lengthen out of the pose. Exhale and fold over the legs. Inhaling, extending the spine, spread your toes, press your inner thighs back. Exhale and fold forwards. Lowering the hands onto the ground if that's available. Inhale, reach them out and overhead. Exhale, fold right back down to the ground, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Exhale and fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, arms rise out and up, extending. Exhale and fold, looking inwards. Finding balance. Where can you be more active or perhaps more passive in your life? Step your left foot back. Feel the ground beneath you. Turn your back foot out and rise up into Warrior Two. Arms stretching in opposite directions. Feel yourself softening in between each inhalation and exhalation. Softening in the front and the back side of the body as the legs stay strong. Exhale, release the hands down to the ground and step your right foot back into plank pose. Pause and breathe. Set your right knee down on the ground as we come into a side plank position, a modification of half moon as well as side plank. Bring your left hand to your left shoulder or up towards the sky and maybe lift the left leg off the ground. As you practice, observe what you need today. Return to plank pose and then downward facing dog. Your breath will guide you as you move in and out of these poses. As the mind slows down, you're able to listen and feel what you need today. Walk your feet forwards to the top of the mat and fold forwards into Uttanasana. Inhale up and overhead. Exhale, return back down to the ground and step your right foot back. Warrior Two on the second side. As the arms stretch again in opposite directions, be patient with yourself. If you feel one side is more challenging than the other, take it easy. Release the hands down to the ground and step your left foot back, plank pose. Slow and steady as you hold your plank position, set your left knee down onto the ground and your right leg extended behind you. Once you feel balance, try lifting the right leg off the ground horizontal and stretch the right arm up to the ceiling and release as you exhale, returning to plank pose and press back downward facing dog. Observe how this dog feels. We've done quite a few so far. Lift your right leg up and step it forwards between your hands. Use your block. Place your block on the outside of your right foot and rise into Warrior Two. Lower your right hand onto the block and press the outside of your right thigh into the right arm, coming into side angle pose. Your left arm can reach forwards or up towards the ceiling. Release the left hand down and step your right foot back into plank pose once again. Now spin your heels to the right If you need a modification, lower your right knee. As you come into side plank, feel your breath. If your breath is smooth, stretch the left arm up and overhead. Feel your strength. Release the left hand down and press back, down dog. Left leg begins to lift back and up. As you exhale, set the left foot down between the hands. Place your block, if you have one, on the outside of your left foot. Take Warrior Two pose. Find your position there, pushing your knee out towards your pinky toe. Lower your left hand onto the block and press your left thigh into the left arm. Right arm can come onto the hip or maybe to the shoulder, and find your gaze either down towards the left foot or up towards the sky. It's all about feeling balanced. Notice if you feel shaky and listen to your breath to guide you. Step back into plank pose and spin your heels to the left, lifting the hips, pressing the outside edge of your left foot into the ground and the inside of the right foot onto the ground. Release the right hand down, returning to downward facing dog. Balance your weight evenly and begin to lift your right leg back and up. Exhale, set it down between the hands and rise up into Warrior Two position. Slowly straighten your right leg and bring your left hand to your hip, extending the whole right side of the body, shifting into triangle pose. Might you use a block? Notice how it feels to have the support beneath you. Squeeze the muscles in your legs strong and possibly look upwards as your left hand stretches up towards the sky. Place the left hand onto the hip and rise up. Take the block with you if you used it. Feel both legs straight as your feet turn inwards and will release down towards the ground into wide-legged fold. Take the hands and bring the thumb, the index, and the middle finger and wrap them around the big toes. Bend at the elbows and draw the torso downwards. Have a little bend in your knees and lift up through the sitting bones. Release the hands and inhale, half lift. Feel your pelvis tipped forwards. Slowly start to turn your left leg towards the left, finding Warrior Two facing the opposite end of your mat. Bring the right hand to the hip and begin to extend and move into Trikonasana, triangle pose on this side. Begin to look up if it feels comfortable for you and possibly extend the right arm up towards the sky above. Feel the body and breathe. Strong legs, softening in the upper back and front side of the body. Begin to look down and lower the right hand to the hip, rising back up into Warrior Two. Turn the left foot inwards. Hands to the hips and begin to fold forwards once again as both feet are parallel to the edges of your mat. You can bring the hands to the feet once again, wrapping around the big toes. Pulling downwards, lifting up through the sitting bones, release the hands to the ground and extend. Turn towards the right now. As you feel your exhalation, step your right foot to the back of the mat into plank pose, and then downward facing dog. Notice an even balance through the body. Mind is calmed. Walking upwards to the top of the mat, extend the spine, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold forwards and bring the chin downwards towards the chest. Inhale, reach the arms out and overhead, extending, and return the thumbs to the heart space. Inhale, arms come up and overhead. Exhale, fold forwards down to the ground. Setting up now for Ardha Chandrasana. Setting up now for half moon pose. Slide your right hand or block diagonal of your right pinky toe and bring your left hand to your hip. Slow down. Be patient. Bend your right leg just a bit for balance and start to stack the hips. Left hip on top of right hip, turning the chest towards the left. Feel your left shoulder reaching up towards the sky. Maybe your gaze rises Maybe the left hand reaches overhead. Feel your wiggles and your wobbles. Feel the intrinsic muscles in your feet working, and start to lower your right foot down. Fold forwards, returning to Uttanasana. Lengthen the spine and exhale, fold once again. Reach the arms up and overhead, returning the thumbs to the heart space through the center and down into Uttanasana. Prepare yourself for the second side. Slide your left hand diagonal of your left pinky toe. Use the block. Place the right hand onto the right hip and start to shift your weight into the left foot. Peel your right toes off the ground, slowly, slowly lifting the foot off the earth, finding your balance. Steady, steady breath. Rotate your right hip up towards the sky, as well as your right shoulder, your right elbow. Maybe the right hand reaches upwards. Feel a drawing back, left hand, left foot reaching towards the space behind you, almost like there's a magnet on the back of your right foot. Release the right foot down to the ground and fold forwards. Inhale, reach up and overhead, squeezing the glutes. Exhaling, slide the thumbs to the heart space and pause. Observe your breath and notice if it's changed. Feel your balance on both feet and begin to lift your left ankle, your left foot onto your right ankle. Move the left knee away from the front of the mat into tree pose. Shift your weight onto your left foot and place your right foot on your left ankle. Thumbs resting at the heart space, possibly reaching the arms overhead. Feel your balance in the front and the back, balance of energies, and release the right foot down. Inhale, reach the arms overhead. Exhale and fold, returning towards the earth. Step your left foot back and start to walk your hands to the left, turning both feet parallel to the edges of your mat. Coming into a wide-legged forward fold with the hands on the ground, walk your hands in between your feet, elbows reaching towards the space behind you, and a small bend in your knees. Lift up through the sitting bones as the crown of the head reaches towards the ground. Release out of the pose as you exhale, lengthening the spine. Begin to walk your hands back towards the top of your mat and step your left foot forwards. Turn your feet out and lower the sitting bones down into a yogi squat, malasana. The hands can come into the heart space, placing the fingers to touch, thumbs resting on the breastbone, and elbows on the inside of the thighs. Spread your toes, unclench your jaw, relax your eyes and breathe. Release out of the pose and fold forwards, walking your feet to the back of the mat, downward facing dog. You may lower down onto the knees and come into a passive child's pose. Bring the forehead down to the ground if that's available, or stack the hands under the forehead. Possibly bring the hands to the feet and let the elbows rest on the ground. Breathe out through the mouth. Observe any shifts and changes. You have made a conscious effort throughout your practice to balance the body and the mind. Feel your eyes resting towards your heart space. Begin now to release the legs by coming down onto the sitting bones. Stretch the legs out in front. Bring the soles of the feet together now. Similar to Baddha Konasana, slide them a little further away from you, making more of a diamond-shaped position, and purposely round your back. You can grab a block or a pillow and place it on your feet. Stack your hands if needed, and rest your head on the hands. Listen to your breath and find the quiet in between each breath. Release out of the pose as you inhale and bring the knees together. Reach the arms out in front of you, beginning to slowly roll down onto your back. Bend your left leg and cross the right ankle over the left thigh, coming into reclined pigeon pose. 3 breaths as your hands interlace under the left hamstring. Now slide the right leg completely over the left and allow the legs to drop over to the left side of the mat, stretching the arms open nice and wide. Turn your gaze out to the side and release out of the pose. Opposite leg, left ankle crosses on right thigh, hands interlace behind the right hamstring. Try and flex both of your feet. Now release. Left thigh crosses on top of right as you gaze towards the left fingers. Gentle pressure on the left thigh, relaxing into any intensity that you feel. Bring the knees into the chest, hug them in, rock a little bit on your sacrum from side to side. Release the legs down onto the ground, release the arms, tuck the shoulder blades under, and close your eyes. It's time to completely let go into Shavasana. Take a moment to look within. Allow yourself to focus on the light within you, feeling the balance and peace you have created through your practice today. Similar to the strength and grace you felt in half moon pose, observe your body, the mind. In this moment, acknowledge and celebrate the progress you have made and the balance you have brought into your life. Take a deep breath in and exhale, letting go of any last tension you may feel, enjoying this moment of peace and balance as you begin to shift off of your mat and into the rest of your day. Start to wiggle through your hands and your feet, a little movement through the head. When you're ready to move, awaken your wrists and your ankles and gently roll to one side, pausing for a few breaths before pushing yourself up into an easy, comfortable seat. You may place your hands on the thighs or let them rest at your heart space. As you step away from your mat, may the balance and strength gained through this practice stay with you. May you have the courage to pause and reflect when life presents unexpected challenges, the flexibility to approach situations without attachment to perfection, and the grace to navigate through difficulties with ease. May peace and tranquility accompany you in all your endeavors. Om Shanti. Peace, peace, peace. I am grateful for your presence here. I value your engagement and always look forward to reading your comments. If you'd like to support this community and continue to receive more yoga and deep relaxation practices, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me.